If you've ever felt like you're trying to manifest something, but it just feels off, like you're hitting a wall of resistance, this episode might hold the key for you. Today, I'm sitting down with Laura Martinez, also known as the Neuro Shamonic Healer. She blends neuroscience, shamanism, and trauma healing in a way that feels grounded, expansive, and incredibly aligned. We're talking about intuition, nervous system healing, parallel timelines, and what it actually means to manifest alignment instead of just things. So grab a cup of tea and come join us for this conversation. Welcome to the Manifestation and Money Podcast, the show where we tackle the taboo topics of money and manifestation. I'm your host, Jenny Schultz, former 9-to-5 grinder who ditched the status quo and went all in on creating a life I love. Yes, I use manifestation. Yes, I took action. And yes, I created a 7-figure net worth before turning 40. Every week, I'll bring you inspiring stories with money mavens and manifestation masters. From learning how to make more, save more, and grow your wealth to unlocking the power of manifesting your dream life. I am so excited to play in this space with you. Let's jump into creating a life you love. Welcome to the Manifestation and Money Podcast, Laura.
Thank you so much for having me, Jen. I'm so excited to be here.
I am excited to chat with you today. Can you share with the listeners who you are and what your story is?
Sure. So, in a nutshell, I call myself the Neuro Shamonic Healer, and I converge neuroscience, shamanism, and mental health. And I have my master's in clinical mental health, and I also, in my family line, have shamanism through my great grandmother. I converge those three aspects, and I create a unique experience for the clients that I work with.
Yeah. So take us into a piece of story about who you are then. Like, how did you kind of evolve into these things? What does that look like for you?
Oh, it's such a long story, but I'll cut it short. The long version is I went and I took a trip to Costa Rica when I was about 19 years old. And I love solo trips, still do them to this day. And I went to a restaurant, and on a palm tree there was a posting to work with a shamanic couple. And I was kidding around with the waiter and kind of flirting, to be honest, and asked him if I should go work with them. And he got really serious and he said, no, absolutely, you should. And he actually offered to take me to go work with him. And I did. And I, at the time, was a little bit very science minded. I was all about science and needing data and results. And I could not explain the experience that I had with the shaman couple. And I just, ever since then, my soul almost like a flame just awoken to this energy and this healing. I went to college, and then after that, I started working in a treatment center, and I was going back and working with them periodically throughout my life. And I was bringing the modalities, the shamanic modalities, back over to the substance abuse treatment center I was working at. The results were just so insane. I mean, in a good way. It was incredible. They were opening up, they were meeting their inner children, they were meeting descendants of their ancestry line. And so I just kept doing this. And then during that process, I actually found out through my grandma that my great grandma was doing work when she was alive, and I had no idea. So I get really emotional, even though I've told this story about 100 times. I always get emotional because it's just the power of our DNA and what's in our DNA ancestry line. I'm so grateful to share this medicine openly because she was actually persecuted for her work a lot. She had to hide, and she was in the mountains of Mexico, and she had to hide from people and do her work in the mountains so nobody could see. And so I get to do this and market it, and it really blows my mind that I'm able to do this out in the open, out loud. Yeah.
Yeah. And can you share with the listeners who might not have a clear idea of what shamanism is?
Oh, yeah, good question. So, shamanism is usually not what people think it is. People usually think it's like a chicken sacrifice in the woods or something like that. That is not my type of shamanism. My type of shamanism is basically the concept that you can heal yourself, that you have all the resources you need, your breath, your community, nature, spirit animals, spirit guides, your ancestry line. You have all of these things available to you for free at no cost that help you heal yourself. And so my job really is not to heal the person, it is to help them connect to their own inner healer so they can heal themselves. And That way they're not dependent on me. They can do this on their own. And also, I love to teach people about their own intuitive gifts. And I believe that we all have them. So, shamanism is about unlocking the power within you.
I love that. That's beautiful. And yeah, intuition. I think that is such a huge piece of manifestation and a huge piece of moving forward. And the more I dig into the topics of manifestation and intuition, I wibble wobble. I'm like, am I manifesting this thing that I want, that I think I'm creating in my mind? Or is this thing already in my mind that it knows I'm supposed to have and am I being pulled towards it? I swear, the more conversations I have, it just puts me in these wait a second moments.
Yeah. So, oh man, I got goosebumps, Jen. So it's so cool because in shamanism, we believe that there are parallel dimensions of reality, which physics has confirmed that, but shamans have known that for years before. And we believe that you have different forms of yourself, different selves that have been already living out all of these timelines. So the belief is if I can imagine my highest self doing something, let's say starting an organization that creates a movement that helps hundreds of thousands of people, then that version of myself has already done it. And there's almost this higher calling, we call it the calling or the initiation process to connect to that part of ourselves that's already done it. So I'm with you. I do believe that when we are manifesting, it's because a version of ourselves in a parallel dimension has already done it, has already
Mhm.
succeeded at doing this. And we're connecting to that part of ourselves.
Yeah, fascinating. And I want to chat with you because you had put in your intake form, you were talking about you're less about manifesting things and more about manifesting alignment. And I love this so much because I think the people that are listening to this show that feel like they're hitting a block and not manifesting what they want, it's because something is out of alignment. So if we can come back to us and figure out how to keep ourselves in alignment, we are essentially the compass who is navigating things. What does that look like for you? How does somebody manifest alignment?
I love this concept of alignment because I do believe, like you, that a lot of people are trying to manifest things that really are not for them. In other words, it's just if you were to align to the authenticity of their soul and their spirit, it's not really what they want deep down, right? They might be coming from a trauma lens or they might be coming from a wounded place where they want this certain thing because then they'll feel enough. And so manifesting alignment is listening to yourself. A lot of it is quieting the mind, but quieting your inner that inner chatter and being able to really listen to what is an alignment for me? And we know it because our body, our nervous system tells us. A lot of the times when, especially when we've experienced trauma, we're so disconnected from the body. You know, sometimes if I start to work with someone, I start asking them, what are you feeling in your body right now? What's going on? And a lot of the times they can't tell me. I don't know because I'm not connected to it. And so, really, I believe the first step in alignment is connecting to our nervous system and allowing ourselves to listen to our body because our body already knows, our soul already knows. So it's alignment for me in manifestation is connecting to that data, that inner wisdom and that inner knowledge that we already have inside of us. I don't think anybody's a higher authority of us besides our higher power, or if you believe in any angels or spirit guides or anything like that. But human, I don't believe there's any human power that knows more than we do, right? And so I think sometimes people go to therapists or healers, practitioners, etc., because they want them to tell them. And alignment for me is you're telling yourself, you're connected to yourself. And if you can find a practitioner or healer that can help you listen to yourself and connect to yourself, then you've got it really good because that's really ultimately what you want is alignment with yourself. So you can create this happy, vibrant life that feels good. When we're in alignment, things feel really good. And I'm not saying all the time, 100% of the time, we're human beings. However, you know, because you just are happy for no reason. That's Tara Brach saying, I don't want to steal that from her. Tara Brach, she talks about being happy for no reason. And that's when you know that you are in alignment with yourself. And I love that concept.
Mhm. And let's take the conversation to intuition then, Because I think people overthink intuition or what if it's something that we're supposed to figure out. Like if you were just to describe intuition, is if that's even possible, how would you describe intuition?
I would describe it as an inner knowing. It's something that you already know. It's data that doesn't come from here, but comes from here. It's amazing. Sometimes I do intuition workshops and I have them instead of listening to the brain, I have them listen to the spirit or listen to their heart. And it's such a hard practice because we're so used to listening to this thing all the time. And I'll have them connect with a partner. And a lot of people have done this exercise before, but it's eye gazing where you look into another person's soul or their eyes and you are just picking up data from them. And you don't know why you know something, but you know it. So, for instance, I had a pair go through and they didn't know each other, never met each other before. And the woman sitting across from her, her husband had just died. And the woman working with her had no idea. And the woman said, I have a feeling, and it's not coming from my head, it's coming from my heart. I have a feeling that your significant other, it just passed, and that you're dealing with a lot of grief. And the woman that it was true, she started just bawling her eyes out. And she just, because it was like somebody else is seeing me, even though I don't have to use words. Intuition it's a deep knowing and it makes no sense. It really makes no sense. It doesn't, you don't have any scientific proof, any data. How she picked that up from that woman from her soul was just a deep inner knowing. She's
Mhm.
a human being in the collective and being connected to that feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you agree that it is harder to hear our own intuition with the noise of the current world that we're living in, just like social media and everything that is being thrown at us?
Oh my gosh, yes. I feel like it's since I've been alive, it's the most difficult time right now because there's so much opposing side of you versus me, and we're setting up this dyad of you're either on this side or this side. And the problem with that depolarization, if you will, is that you take away yourself. You take away, well, what's in alignment for me? You're just giving me two choices instead of what's in alignment with my soul. I tell my clients and people I work with, go out in nature at least one time a day. Take off your shoes if you can. And I know you're in Canada, so you got a lot of snow right now, but take off your shoes if you can and get into the ground. If you can't do that, just be outside for 5, 10 minutes and just in silence, no headphones, just you in nature. I feel like that's a really good start for us to start listening to ourselves because we're at least giving our nervous system a break and a time to just be still. That's what that stillness comes intuition. And it's amazing how fast we get there once we give ourselves just like that space in that nervous system calm to be able to connect with it.
Hmm. Yeah, giving ourselves space. That is not something that I feel like is necessarily available to so many people right now who are in the grind of the rat race and the everyday, the hustle bustle, to actually intentionally carve out space, I guess has to come from that place of intention.
It has to. I mean, really have to make it in your schedule. You have to put blocks in your schedule where you say, okay, whatever amount of time, whether that's 5, 10, an hour, I need 5, 10 minutes to an hour. I need to do this for me. And once you start doing it, I've noticed with my clients, once they start doing it, it's like medicine. They can't get enough of it. And it's just as important to them as taking their supplements in the morning or drinking their water in the afternoon. That's how important that space is for us. If we fill our day back to back to back to back, well, you're teaching your nervous system to always be on overdrive and to always be running, 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 running. And you're not giving yourself the time to align with you. You're just becoming a human doing instead of a
Mhm.
human. You know.
Yeah. I want to take you straight to this question then, which is what would your biggest piece of advice be for someone to go out and create a life they love that feels in alignment for themselves?
I believe that there are moments when we are experiencing life and since we're kids, where our heart is just in so much passion, in so much love, and we really deeply enjoy what we're doing. I say follow those moments more. And I'm getting emotional with you, but it's so beautiful to be able to create a life that you love. I can say with certainty I've done that. And it's really great to be able to wake up every day and be ecstatic about the people you're going to work with, the clients you're going to meet, the fact that you're going to go on a nature walk in the middle of the day, the fact that you have a loving partner that you're so excited to wake up next to. And I really do say that I think I'm living this life because of how much alignment I've given myself and how much space I've given myself to create this. I would say advice would be follow that yearning, listen to it, follow that desire, listen to it. Don't shut it out. Because a lot of times we think, well, that desire is silly, like playfulness. Like I don't have time to play. I'm listening, I hear this song and my body wants to move and I want to play, but I don't have time for that. That's silly. That's nonsense. No, that's the invitation for you to step into your alignment. That's the invitation for you to live the life you love. It's those moments of gleeful happiness. Follow those more. Those will show you where you need to go.
That was beautiful. And I would love for you to share with listeners how you work with people, because I feel like a lot of people are going to resonate with listening to you and going, oh, wow, I need some of this in my life.
Yeah, so I work with people individually in Zoom meetings or face to face if they're in the Dallas Fort Worth, Texas area. I also work with people in workshops and retreats, and I do a virtual meditation once a month. I also do an in-person meditation once a month. So all those formats are different, of course. But if you're going to work with me individually, I first want to see where you're in alignment and out of alignment. A lot of the work I do is about being in alignment, and your nervous system is one of the biggest ones. So we'll always start with learning skills that help you calm the nervous system and skills that resonate with you. I hear so many people, they have this pressure from the holistic community to do yoga and meditate and buy crystals. Like that might not be your thing, and that's okay. You might be more like of a basketball girly, or it might feel more in resonance with you to swim, right? So I always tell clients, let's discover, like, let's play and let's see what aligns for you. Just because everybody's doing yoga doesn't mean you have to do yoga. You might not like it. It might not be a thing you want to do. To me, it's really important to find that person in their inner glee and what sparks that for them, and finding coping skills to help them. Because a lot of times my clients have trauma. I mean, who doesn't have some sort of trauma from childhood or from just being alive as a human being? A lot of this trauma work that we do, I want to make sure that their body feels safe and that they have the coping skills to go through that work. It's very intensive, I would say, the work that you do with me, anybody does with me. I tell them one session, people usually say it feels like 5 or 6 therapy sessions because I really want to go to the root cause. I'm more of a confrontational practitioner, and that sounds really mean, like I'm all up in your face, like boot camp. That's not what I mean. I just mean I'm really looking and we're really curious together about what did that feeling do for you? Or, why did that trigger you? What was underneath that? Okay, what does your inner child think about that? Just really these questioning and us being able to dig at the root cause of what's creating this belief system in the person. I would say it's intense to work with me, but you don't have to work with me as long as you would maybe other practitioners.
hmm I love this kind of work because it's going to the root. It's going to the root of what is holding you up. And oftentimes, ignoring all of this stuff, it manifests in our body as physical ailments, which then we're going to the Western medicine and they're just going to throw some kind of pill or something at you to try to mask your symptoms. By going all the way back to the root of what can be harboring these illnesses in our body, this ill feelings in our body, you are opening the doors to better health, to more joy, to all of the good things just by trying to peel back the layers. And it's probably a bit uncomfortable choosing to go through that. You'd have to be really vulnerable and you'd have to be intentionally showing up and knowing that you're putting yourself through this to have a better outcome on the other end.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And with that said, there has to be trust with the practitioner. You do have to build that trust, and the client has to feel like there's a feeling of non-judgment and a feeling of unconditional love, real positive regard. That you have to have that with that space that you're holding with the client, because if you come off as judgmental or if you come off as not trustworthy to the client, that vulnerability just goes to zero. And I really believe it's the sacred space that we hold for clients that really allows them to be vulnerable and therefore heal. A lot of it is about that space and that trust, like you said.
Yeah,
That's a big part of it. Yeah.
totally. I would love for you to share with listeners where they can reach out to you, find you online, continue on this conversation.
I'm most active on Instagram, so you can find me on Instagram at the Neuro Shamonic Healer. You can also find me on my website at theneuroshamonichealer.com. And you can shoot me an email at Laura at the neuroshamonichealer.com. Yeah, I would love to hear from you. I love working with people. I love having spiritual conversation, even if you just have a question for me. And I am going to bring back my podcast, which is the Neuro Shamonic Healer. I kind of dropped off last year because got engaged, bought a house together with my fiance, and now we're getting married. So it's like been like, woo, I need some space for to do all that, right? And then also a curriculum I have out. It's going to be out in May. Right now, the first Neuro Shamonic cohort is going through kind of like my beta testers and testing through the curriculum. And we're meeting together and having sessions. And it's just been so fun. So I can't wait until that's released in May. So check that out on my website at theneuroshamonichealer.com.
Awesome. I will link all of that in the show notes for the listeners. And thank you so much for bringing your energy onto the show today and having this conversation with me.
Yeah, thank you, Jen, so much for having me. I appreciate you so much.
Before you go, I know you've got some big dreams and desires of your own calling to you. I'd love for you to come hang out with me inside Manifestation Playground on School. It's free to join, and you'll get instant access to the Manifestation Vault and an amazing community of fellow manifestors. Come in, drop me a hello, share a win, or just quietly binge the tools, your pace, your vibe. Head to manifestationplayground.ca, and I'll see you in there.